Um, I've not slept. I literally have a splitting headache right now. Um, so we have to be realistic. We have our reactions, we have our viewpoints, but it's very important that we are realistic. We have to be realistic. Because if we're not realistic and we just lead by via our hearts, that's not how we operate in life. You have to have the emotional reaction, but you also have to be realistic here. I've been literally on Twitter for hours, going back and forth, looking at viewpoints here, and I think there are two sides to this story here. There are two sides, and we have to listen to both sides of the story. So initially, I talked about how football is about merit. You have to earn your rights to get into that Champions League. You have to earn your right to win this match. You have to earn your right for that trophy. And creating a separate league that is closed off and doesn't allow the fact for a Leicester City, a West Ham, a Sevilla, even like an Ajax or so forth to play with the big teams. It's anti-football. And that's what I said. It is anti-football. That was my emotional reaction, but I slept on it. I've thought about it. And guys, I've been talking about a Super League for a very long time. For a very long time. My view on a domestic league when I was young isn't my view of a domestic league now. When I was young, I watched every single match. I remember it was to such a point where I used to watch I remember watching a preseason game against like an Irish team and like a Scottish team because I was like, oh no, this is football, and I would watch all the games. I'm sure I watched every games. I would be on Match of the Day watching all the games, and that's how it was. But as you grow older, you see patterns emerge, and then you now have to grow realistic to yourself. It is cool seeing David beat Goliath. It is cool, and it is an amazing thing to see David beat. It's cool. It's a nice story. It doesn't always happen, but it's nice. But what I have realized as a football fan is seeing David versus Goliath is cool, but I would rather see Goliath versus Goliath. Seeing David versus Goliath is a great thing to see, and I love the underdog story. I love the underdog story. I love it. But if I had to choose between seeing David v Goliath and Goliath v Goliath, I'd rather see Goliath versus Goliath. So we have to look at the financial reality here. It's a pandemic. Guys have lost a lot of money. A lot of money. And as I've said for several months, you've seen it in the hangars and so forth, I've said, what if all the big teams came together on an independent model like Amazon, and through your Fire TV and Amazon Prime, you can watch the best play against the best, still keeping your 1 month subscription model. Or you have an independent subscription model for all of the big teams. The amount of money you will make is astronomical. And I am shocked that on a good year, reportedly, these big teams earn what, 40 to 80 mil on a good year. Whereas we're now hearing that if you just enter this model, you get hundreds of millions. It doesn't make any sense that I know how big this sport is. And I know how much this can generate. And these business owners say, wait a minute. These are global brands. We have millions upon millions of fans around the world. And we are just not taking advantage of the amount of money we can make from this. Now, you may say that is bad. That is anti-football. That is terrible. Then you're not being realistic. Because I always knew this was going to happen. That's why this is about being realistic. It's not about whether I like it or hate it. It's about being realistic. This was always going to happen. It was not a matter of if, it was a matter of when. This sport is too popular. It is great. It is becoming more popular by every single year. And the gap between, and not just will become popular, there's more money into it. And the gap between the best and the rest is getting larger and larger and larger. And one of the key things that these Super League guys said is what I've been saying. Why don't we have, throughout the year, consistent quality? Are you telling me you're going to tune into Real Madrid against Getafe over Juventus against Liverpool? If you say so, you're a liar. You know? Because it's about creating a better, more consistent product. So guys, I told you I have been thinking about this for long because it's a tough one. Now, I don't believe this is going to happen. I believe there will be somewhat of a compromise. It will be a compromise. But the fact that this has just even been suggested and they've gone, this is the furthest they've ever gone with it. This is the furthest they've ever gone with it. So it's now in the sense of, you now know that this could really not potentially happen, and we now know what the fallout could be. And guys, let's also keep things in perspective here. They're not leaving the domestic leagues. Because you leave the domestic leagues, and these clubs will rely on these big teams. They have not left. It clearly states that we will play these games in midweek and we'll play the domestic leagues on the weekend. But the issue is, now, all these teams who, let's say, a Leicester or West Ham finish in the top 4, you don't get to come into the Super League because we now have a separate qualifying framework for the 5 teams. 15 are fixed. 5 teams is the qualifying framework for those 5 teams that are over there. So it is. And also, please, and there's so many aspects to cover. UEFA are not the good guys. These same clowns that put a slap on the wrist for racism, but when their pockets are now being threatened, they now go crazy. Don't give me any crap about UEFA fighting for the fibre for football. Don't give me any of that crap. And FIFA. Yeah, we know about FIFA and so forth. So these guys do not stand on any moral freaking high ground here. Okay, stuff we're hearing in Qatar. We don't know how it's run up, but we're hearing reports of in Qatar, and I already know those freaking clowns known as UEFA there. So no, you have no moral high ground here. So the fact of the matter here is this. You now have a situation here where there's so many aspects here because the fan. What is the Man United fan in India supposed to do? Stand in solidarity with the Man United fans here in England? Is the Man United fan in Manchester realer than the Man United fan in Canada or America or Nigeria or South Africa or Norway? I mean, what are we talking about? I mean, what conversation are we having here? Because newsflash, you don't own your club. You don't own your club. You're a supporter. You're a very important member, but you don't own the club. Your club is a global entity, and a big reason why your club is profitable is because of those preseason tours that your clubs go to America and so forth. So you guys calling those guys all plastic fans, fake fans, you're not part of the real fans and so forth. Oh, okay. Try telling Levy, Glazers, Perez and so forth to stop their preseason tours of Japan, China, America and so forth. They'll slap you in the face. So as I said again, this is a difficult one, guys. It's a difficult one here because I am conflicted. This channel, it was based on the Champions League, World Cup, Euros, top football stories and so forth. But my excitement, what I go crazy for, what I go mad for, what really gets me insane mad and so forth is the Champions League. It's the Euros, the World Cup. It's the best against the best. You know, I can't get excited. I will watch David Goliath and I will always, When I watch David versus Goliath, I will always root for David. I'll always will because I always root for the underdogs. I'll always root for the David. But if it's between David and Goliath or Goliath against Goliath, I'm choosing Goliath against Goliath. You know, I will. If that was my choice, why am I choosing David v Goliath? Even if David wins, most likely Goliath should win. You know, but Goliath against Goliath, it's 50-50. I'd rather take a 50-50 than a 60-40 or a 70-30. You know, so it's a tricky one, guys. It is not cut and dry. People saying this is anti-football, this is horrible football, this is the death of football and so forth. Guys, first of all, let's just get some facts. The Premier League did this to begin with. They're the guys that wanted more money. They were the guys that chose greed. And they're the guys that broke away from the Football Association so they could make more money. So the Premier League, you cannot talk. Don't you dare open your mouth because you did the same thing. And guys, newsflash, that's why I keep trying to explain to you guys. If you want purity, it is found at the World Cup, at the Euros, at the Nations Cup, and so forth. Which is why I really care about those tournaments, because those tournaments are real. They are real. Guys, this is club. That's what I say. I don't mean to be rude, but I'm trying to be real with you guys. Of course, loyalty exists with Italy, Brazil, Nigeria, Japan, South Africa. That's real because that is your culture. You play one game for your country, that's it. Boom, you suck. This has always been about money. 100 mil for this player, 150 mil for this player, 300 mil for this player. This team is worth 2 billion. This team has spent 500 million in the summer playing against a team that has spent like 100 mil over 6 years. You know, what are we? So this was the natural progression of things. This was the natural progression of things. We were always going to end up here. Anybody who is surprised or shocked or so forth, you're not living in reality. And I have to stress this. This is not for number 4. This is a life lesson. In a life lesson, be realistic. You have to be realistic and see the world for what it is. You can't live in the crowd. You have to be fully realistic. I will keep getting videos because we'll still keeping track of this whole thing because Dortmund have rejected the idea. I think Bayern have rejected the idea, so forth. So they're still trying to find these 3 founding members. I still don't think it will fall through. But let's say it does go through. I don't think it will go through. It won't go through. I don't believe it will go through. But let's just say it does go through. And these matches happen. Are you telling me you will not tune in out of protest? That's my question to you guys. And I want to hear what people say in the comments below. If this does go through, the European Super League, and your team is in it, so I'm speaking to the Liverpool fans, Arsenal fans, Chelsea fans, Juve fans, AC Milan fans, Inter Milan fans, Real Madrid fans, Barca fans. If this does go through, and your team is in it, will you refuse to watch out of protest? Will you refuse to subscribe to it out of protest? And stand in solidarity with your domestic league? Because also, as well, have you seen the Champions League's new revamped thing? It's this. It's this. So of course I want the Champions League. I love the theme and so forth and everything. But when you look at the new format is about trying to protect these elite clubs. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. But these founding members have said, JP Morgan are going to invest like 10 bill. We're each going to get 200, 300 mil to help us through COVID. I think 10 bill throughout the initiation period as well. So if you can't give us this solidarity payments of 10 bill, UEFA, what are we saying here? Again, guys, you have to deal with the reality, my friend. I know we want to be sentimental, but deal with the reality. These guys bought this club. They own this club. They've put money into this club. And now they want to get bang for their buck. This isn't international football. That happens in the summer. This is club football. And club football is built off of money and profits. So guys, you're not thinking about this. I know you want this to, and I know as well, and that's what my emotional reaction that was stay true. But I was like, I wasn't being realistic. In my initial reaction, I just wasn't being realistic. I was like, wait a minute, this is club football. This is business. This isn't the World Cup. This is not the African. This is not AFCON. This is not Copa America. This is business. Club football is business. You can talk about, the history of a club, the value of a club. It's business. It's profits. It's making money. It's buying and selling. That is what club football is. And what is just happening is a natural progression. Financially. And maximizing the potential of the institution that you hold. You don't own your club. It's a global institution. There are fans around the world. And those fans around the world, name your price, I am going to buy and watch my team play. Why should a Real Madrid or Man United fan in China refuse to watch their team because again, guys, we have to be realistic here. And anybody thinking that football was going to keep it, that's club football. Anybody that thought that club football would keep its integrity based on how much money it is and how much popular it's getting, you're not being realistic. You are living in a dream world. So either you want to take the blue pill and remain ignorant and oblivious, or you want to take the red pill and say, this football is the most popular sport in the world. People will always want to be attached to something that is popular and lucrative, and they will try to find a way to maximize the profits of what is a very lucrative enterprise. International football that's the purity. That's the purity where it's just about your country's culture. That is, international football is real football. It was never club football. Because this is all about money. It's all about money. And it's about, what the Champions League is the best against the best. Comment below. Let's talk about it.